Never doubt my love for you. Here we are. What is it? 15 hours later? 29-page script. All of it. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 hand-drawn people. If you can't tell, I do really like this series, but I like you more. This is a very interesting series. I'm very glad you asked about it. And before we waste any more time, because this is probably going to be a very long video, one in a 4-part series, may I add. There are 8 episodes in the first season. Each one is about an hour long, so we'll be going about this chapter by chapter, as they're called, explaining season 1 of Stranger Things to you. Let's get into it, why don't we? Chapter 1, The Vanishing of Will Byers. It's Sunday, November 6, 1983. In the lower levels of Hawkins National Laboratory, a scientist in a lab coat runs down a dark hallway, frantically pushing buttons and trying to operate an elevator. When the elevator arrives, the man enters and is seemingly safe, until suddenly something growls above him. Terror fills the man's face and his eyes widen. As the doors close, he's violently yanked upwards. Meanwhile, 4 middle schoolers, Mike Wheeler, Dustin Henderson, Lucas Sinclair, and Will Byers are playing Dungeons & Dragons in Mike's basement. The 4 boys want to play a little while longer as they have just encountered the fearsome Demogorgon, a character in the Dungeons & Dragons game. Mike's mother, Karen, insists it's time for them to go home. Will and Dustin are biking home, and they decide to make it a race betting on each other's comic books. If Will wins, he'll get Dustin's X-Men number 134. As Will pushes ahead, he rides onto a street named Mirkwood, a road near the Hawkins lab, which is where the whole growling above the head in the elevator thing went down. While he's biking there, he sees a mysterious figure in the middle of the street, and it scares him. And so he rides his bike off into the woods on accident. He crashes. I should have made that more specific. He crashes his bike off to the side of the road in the woods. After he crashes, Will hears something in the distance, which frightens him and sends him running home. But the mysterious creature that was standing in the middle of the road decides, hey, you know what? I'm kind of bored. Let me chase you. So he chases Will all the way home. Will gets inside, he locks the door, and he goes to call for help, but the phone isn't working. As he's calling for help, the monster breaks into the house. So Will runs and hides in the shed in the backyard of his house and shakily loads a gun to fend off whatever's coming for him. However, the shed's dangling light bulb begins to flicker, and you see behind Will a strange creature come up and growl behind him before the light gets super brighter, and then it breaks, and Will is gone. The next morning, Will's mother, Joyce Byers, and his older brother, Jonathan Byers, are looking for him, because he's not there. Joyce calls Mike's house to see if Will stayed there, but Karen tells him that he left the night before. At Hawkins Middle School, Mike, Dustin, and Lucas are a little surprised to see that Will isn't there yet. They have a run-in with school bullies, Troy and James. They suck, by the way. They make fun of Dustin's abnormalities. He has a disease where he doesn't have collarbones or teeth. So, anyways, they make fun of him. They call Mike Frogface, and they just make fun of Lucas for being black. So that is awesome. Meanwhile, at Hawkins High School, Mike's sister Nancy, so Mike and Nancy are siblings. Don't forget that. Or forget it, it's whatever. Nancy Wheeler makes out with her boyfriend Steve Harrington in the bathroom while all of this is going down, which is just awesome. And they make plans to meet up later, still not knowing that her little brother, Mike's best friend, Will, is missing. It's not common knowledge yet. Anyways, Joyce hurries to the police station to talk to Chief Hopper. Oh my god. Let me try one more time. Joyce hurries to the police station to talk with Chief Hopper, who she hopes can help her find her son. Which, you know, most of the time the police, that's kind of what they're for. Anyways, who am I to say? Since Hawkins is a quiet town, Hopper questions Joyce's claims and doesn't take her too seriously, which is Bad, bad job. No, Hopper. Hopper's first instinct is to question her ex-husband, Lonnie, but Joyce insists that any potential involvement of Lonnie's in Will's disappearance is very unlikely. Nonetheless, she agrees to call him, just to make sure. At Hawkins' lab, a team of scientists, including Dr. Brenner, which, yes, is Papa Smurf. It'll make sense one day, okay? It'll make sense. They suit up in protective suits before entering the quarantine underground subsystem, which is where we saw growling elevator, you get it. There they find a strange biologic growth spreading and originating from a mysterious fracture in the wall. Then a young girl dressed in a hospital gown with a shaved head wanders into Benny's Burgers. The owner, Benny Hammond, catches her stealing fries. Yes, that is all I will say about the matter for now. Just know that Benny's Burgers is located near some woods. We'll come back to that. After class at Hawkins Middle School, the boys become overwhelmed with excitement when their science teacher reveals that the Heathkit Ham Shack, yes, that's a real word, no, I did not butcher that, pats on the back for me, it's like a big old, like, walkie-talkie radio system. You get the gist. Anyways, the Heathkit Ham Shack that he ordered has been delivered. While the boys are messing around with it, however, the school's principal and Chief Hopper interrupt them to question them about Will's way home from the previous night. He tells them to go straight home after school and to not go biking around looking for Will. And they're like, yeah, we're gonna do that. Yeah, whatever. In a flashback scene, Joyce is in the woods at a place called Castle Byers, surprising Will with tickets to a poltergeist. To see the poltergeist, not to like a live. She surprises him with tickets to a movie. Thank you and good night. If you're wondering, Castle Byers is like a little shack in the woods, like his little area. You get it, whatever. In the present, though, they flash back and Joyce, that's my middle name, by the way. My middle name's Joyce. Anyways, Joyce and Jonathan are screaming and looking for Will. They're screaming for Will. They're not just, like, letting out, anger or anything. But anyways, Will is not there. Surprise! Back at Benny's Burgers, Benny, the owner, I know, it's surprising, shows empathy. Despite the child trying to steal from him, he decides to feed the girl and attempts to make conversation, but she remains quiet. He realizes that the digits 011, 11, are tattooed on her left forearm. When Benny asks her about the number's meaning, the girl indicates that the number refers to herself. So the girl's name is 11. 11. While she eats, Benny steps away to call social services. He thinks that the girl has been abused, which is like, yeah, she has a tattoo, she has a shaved head, she's not talking, she's hungry. She's probably, yeah, that's pretty obvious. Anyways. While this is happening, the girl becomes irritated by a noisy fan in the corner. She stares at it intensely, lowers her head, and suddenly the music on the radio becomes heavily distorted and the fan jolts and stops. The girl relaxes and continues eating. At Mirkwood, the street where Will veered off course because he saw the weird monster in the middle of the road, Hopper and his officers, Powell and Callahan, are on the road where Will crashed his bike. They find it tipped over and abandoned by the trees on the side of the road. On the side of the road! So, sidebar, Officer Callahan is underrated. He's annoying, but he's kind of cute. Joyce tries to call Lonnie, but is hung up on by his girlfriend, Cynthia. The cop shows up with Will's bike to Joyce's house. Hopper looks around for clues and is drawn to the shed. The light flickers and he's startled by Callahan entering the shed. He tells them that they need to organize a search party. Mike and his family sit at the dinner table. Mike wants to go look for Will, but his mother, Karen, says no. Nancy asks to go study at her friend Barb's house, which is just a cover for her to go meet up with Steve. I don't like Nancy right now. Karen says nobody leaves until Will is found, which is like, yeah, that's kind of a smart move. Nobody's leaving until a kid who's missing is found. Duh. Anyways, this pisses Nancy off, which is like, whatever, Nancy, you suck. During this, a search party is out in the middle of the woods at night looking for Will. Scott Clark, who's the scientist, he's not up here. He's on the flip side of that, but I didn't but I didn't write it right. But anyway, Scott Clark, who's the science teacher who got the Heath Ham Cam kit, whatever, he's also looking for Will there. While there, Mr. Clark tells Hopper that Will is a great student. It's revealed that Hopper's daughter, Sarah, died a few years back. So Hopper had a daughter named Sarah, but now Sarah is dead. Awesome. Lucas and Mike talk on their supercomms, which is a walkie-talkie. They discuss how Will was willing to put himself in danger in the game of D&D the night before and agree to meet up in the woods to look for him. Mike spots Steve trying to break into Nancy's room. Young love, am I right? A woman claiming to be from social services arrives at Benny's to pick up Eleven. Benny invites the woman into the diner, but when his back is turned, the woman shoots him. Benny falls to the floor dead, and a number of agents arrive to collect the girl. She quickly becomes agitated and uses her telekinetic abilities to kill 2 of the agents before escaping out the back door. The boys are out searching for Will while Nancy and Steve study secretly in her room. Steve tries to seduce Nancy, but she rejects his advances. And by the way, rejecting his advances is like barely. She barely rejects his advances. Anyway, they return to their studying. Joyce and Jonathan go through family photos, and Jonathan breaks down feeling guilty about his brother's disappearance. Joyce tells him it's not his fault and claims that Will is close, she can feel it. They choose a picture for his missing child flyers, and Joyce receives an ominous static call on her home phone. Joyce tells Jonathan that she can hear Will breathing. There's static, some growling, and the lights flicker. The phone surges with electricity and briefly gives Joyce a little shock. While searching for Will in the rain, Dustin wants to turn back. Mike and Lucas disagree moving forward with their plans. They hear rustling in the bushes and turn around to find the girl from Benny's diner. By the way, it's raining. Hope you enjoyed episode 1, because that is it. Come back for episode 2, where I will explain episode 2.